Live from the Lucas Oil Studios, it's Horsepower Hump Day. Because every NASCAR fan needs a push of the old bumper to get them over that hump.
Stop. Oh, my God.
Here's Kenny, Crash, Richie, and Cole. Let's get humping, boys.
Well, you talk about humping, boys and girls. We've been humping for quite a while, and the humps have produced a extravaganza coming up Sunday nights on FS2. Yep, Fox Sports FS2 network will be the home of the Freak Nation. Don't you miss it, man. 10 p.m. Holy smokes, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, right there. Fox Sports FS2 as Kenny and Crash were hanging out in one of the tightest. You know, we've been doing shows from these damn rooms, Crasher, for almost 20 years now. But I continue to remind myself when I walk in here, these are damn old ass audio rooms. They're not audio and video rooms, but we're in the audio video room from the Daytona Media Center, Crash Gladys, where I bet you can smell my old day breath sitting given how close I am to you right now.
Well, let's see. We just got done with Media Day. Actually, right. Media Day is still going on in the 500 Club, which is the big ass building right behind Victory Lane. That's still going on there. And it was interesting to me, because you bring up your breath, that as we walked in to check in for Media Day, what was the very first thing you saw on that check-in desk?
Mints.
Loaded,
yes.
A bowl full of mints. And at almost every driver area, another bowl of mints. It's like, are we really that bad? Or have the drivers been complaining about us? I mean, I guess it's true. We roll through these interviews and there's no time to eat. And when you have no time to eat, you don't have a lot of time to drink. So that means you're eventually getting some pretty serious bad breath because your body just has nothing in it to function. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Should we say sorry? Is this where we say that?
There is a driver that shall remain nameless. However, we did interview him that I couldn't believe the smell of his breath. I thought, because he was turning away from me too, and I thought, that can't be his breath. I was over here, and he was turning away from me. I thought, that is his breath, because once he turned to me, he's like, God dang fire hose of stank.
I don't mean to be mean, but are you talking about Dick Trickle?
No.
Oh.
Crash, I'm talking about what just happened. I'm not talking about what happened 25 years. I'm talking about the last hour.
Oh wow. Damn. I want to take some guesses at this when we go off the air.
Let's do.
I'm not going there. I'm not.
Off the airwaves. I want to hear this.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah.
But the mints are a good call, though, because working media like we do, I do the coffee diet. So that's a good touch that Daytona does, honestly.
So they have a new thing. Kenny hasn't seen it yet because we literally just walked over from the 500 building into the media center. I don't know if they had this for you guys last year. The 3 glorious gelato machines.
Oh.
Custom gelato.
Damn.
They don't open until tonight at 6 p.m. But I think we're going to get some.
Yeah.
It's like a Keurig thing, but it's this bowl that's like ready to be made gelato, and you stick it in the machine, let it do its magic. That was exactly the words that they said on the directions.
Yeah, this is
let it work its magic, and boom, gelato.
Yeah,
Daytona gelato.
Hey, we got a fantastic lineup for you for Horsepower Hump Day, Freak Nation. I don't have any idea who all you guys loaded, Richard C., but who does the Freak Nation look forward to seeing here in the next 60 minutes?
Well, thanks to the hard work of Kenny and Crash, thanks to you guys, we have Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, and Connor Zilisch in his first Daytona 500 start coming up on Sunday.
It's wild. I mean, Cole Cusomano, you've done this. Crasher, it's been a while since you've done this. Richie, remember last year when I was here by myself and I was just going bananas trying to get this S done, holding the camera, holding a mic, making sure it was crazy. And even having Crash here with me, it still gets kind of bananas.
Yes. Because there's not enough room for all of the media that are trying to get at each driver in their little tiny 20-minute window. There's not enough room. So you're like shoving your arm in. Like, that's my microphone. Hold on. It's just, it's interesting.
First world problems, guys. I understand this. But Cole and Richie, you can attest to this. And anybody watching us right now, What are these lat? What are these lat? What are these muscles right here? Up here on your your shoulders. You're holding a camera like this. Okay,
muscle.
you're holding your SLR like this. Okay. And 20 minutes into the Kyle Busch interview, oh man, I thought, what is going on, man? It's like, suck it up, man. We just saw a dude freaking hike up a hill in skis and win gold damn medal. Here I am holding a freaking camera. It's like bitching and moaning about being sore in the shoulders. What an ass. What an ass.
Did you see? Okay, seriously, do you guys know what Kenny's talking about? That I believe it was a Swedish cross-country skier.
My God.
Oh my God, badass.
Mhm.
Is it embarrassing, Cole, that a Swedish, what do you call it, cross-country skier could outrun me on his skis and me at full speed running?
I mean, it's kind of expected for an Olympic athlete, but yeah, it's just pretty crazy.
Wow. So there you go, Freak Nation. It's a hell of a show, man. Thank you guys for hanging out, man.
Okay.
What?
I'm sorry. I know we're all over the place right now. The Olympics came up a few times today, and I know we're not going to get to this later. That's why I want to bring it up now. Somebody asked Kyle Busch, and we don't have this on camera because it was away from cameras. Somebody asked Kyle because he's got these very special edition kicks that he's wearing for this race. So he will sign them after the Daytona 500 and then auction them off for the Bundle of Joy Fund. Stay tuned to his social channels for all those details. Really cool kicks, by the way. The Milano Cortina logo. It's amazing. Anyway, so somebody asked him, if you were in the Winter Olympics, what would your sport be? And I didn't hear his full answer, but I heard, well, you know, when I lived in Vegas, I was a skater. Did you guys know that? Really? And he said, I know that wasn't ice. Was he a roller skater? We have to get to the bottom of this.
No. Oh, Crasher.
What? Inline skating?
No.
What are we talking about?
Skateboarder, bro.
Hockey?
Come on.
Skateboard.
Oh, skateboarding?
You're a
Damn.
skater. Later, skater.
I was going to say, maybe we could get him on the SpeedFreaks hockey team.
And you guys.
Sorry. I hear skating. I didn't immediately default to skateboard and snowboard.
Oh, my God.
It's okay, Crash. We're in the Winter Olympics, so I can see why you made that conclusion, but you're dead wrong.
Fine.
Man.
All right. Just had to throw that in there. Go ahead, Kenny.
Anyway,
Media Day.
our friends with
Awesome.
NASCAR have been very kind to us over the last 8-9 hours, taking care of all of our needs. Thank you guys for taking care of every question that we had. And there's one reason why we're sitting in this snappy room, because Crasher walked back here and says, hey, bro, we could use a room to do horsepower hump day. So it's been a whirlwind, Freak Nation, and it ends in 2 more hours here. It ends at 7:00. And so, Crasher, if you could explain to the Freak Nation what's happening with this rotation, what's going on with the hundreds of media personnel that are here, from influencers to TV reporters to radio to people that shouldn't even be here. Explain to the Freak Nation how they have this set up for the drivers to roll through.
So like I said, that big ass building behind Victory Lane, the 500 Club, has a really high ceiling main lobby room that is just loaded right now with long tables, with all these outlets and people plugging in and doing all their journalistic work. And then all around the perimeter of those tables are certain sections for drivers to sit for a variety of media. And then on another wing of the perimeter, there's a red carpet for all the TV stations that are here, mostly local in Florida and some New York going on. And then radio shows that are specific to NASCAR, like the NASCAR sanctioned shows, Sirius XM. There's like Claire B. Lang. There's some others. They have their own tables around this area as well. It is loaded. The Wi-Fi was going down a lot because so many people are using it, but it was a really spectacular setup. Everybody's getting their time with any driver that they want. And yeah, you're getting a lot of good content out of these drivers. Everybody seems pretty loose heading into this Daytona 500. Granted, they only had an hour of practice this morning before they had to talk to media, but everything has been absolutely spot on. I've loved the vibe, and drivers seem beyond ready, as I'm sure you fans are.
You guys can chime in every now and then with questions if you'd like to be a part of the show.
Yeah, Cole and I were too busy cutting up all this audio from the drivers. That's what the people don't want to hear from us, man. They want to hear from the drivers. They want to hear from Brad Keselowski coming off a broken freaking leg And he's what? How long ago was that? A month and a half ago?
Yeah.
6 weeks ago. And this guy's going to sit his ass in a race car and go 200 miles an hour.
He was walking around with a cane. I saw him climb into his car under his own power. I was like, damn, this is pretty cool.
It's crazy. Like, think about this for a second. Like, same week, Lindsey Vonn races on a torn ACL.
Jeez,
Fortunately, she crashed on her run and now has a broken leg, and did that less than a week away after she tore her ACL. And now Brad Keselowski is racing the Daytona 500 with a broken leg.
And
that's a story. It's insane.
Don't forget, Denny Hamlin, as he so eloquently put it, is racing with a torn shoulder, ligaments hanging off and stuff. So there's a lot going on to start the season off here for NASCAR.
Yeah, 2026, the year of the badass athlete. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't know if we have it on part of our audio with Brad Keselowski, but he basically said in no uncertain terms that it is a lot harder at a track like this, that once you're in the car, you're in the car. But to get in the car, it is a lot harder to get in the car. The way he has to kind of torque his body to get through the window, that's the hard part for this Daytona 500 for him.
That's a great setup, because we do indeed have Brad Keselowski talking about just that. And a follow-up question on that, which is, he was asked in a scenario in which, because he's never won the Daytona 500, right?
Never has.
In 20 plus years, he's never won the Daytona 500. The scenario in which he would get out of the race car, because he would still earn the points if he, as a starter. True. At what point he would get out of the race car if it meant giving up the chance to cross the finish line and win his first Daytona 500. Here's Brad Keselowski.
It's honestly the hardest part is getting in and out of the car. You have to really turn your leg and your hips, and there's a lot of extra parts in me that aren't quite ready for that, and I have to be intentional.
And with how much this race means to you, how much you want to win it, like, what would it take for you to have to get out of the car?
I mean, if I felt like I was holding the team back from giving my best effort and having a chance to win the race, I would get out.
That's the main storyline I'm rooting for, man. I don't know. Like, I've never been like the biggest Brad Keselowski fan in the world, Cole. I know you're a big fan of him, but for me, I think that's the guy. That's like, if I wanted one guy to win the Daytona 500 this year, it would be Brad Keselowski, because Denny Hamlin's already won it. So as great a story as he would be, Brad Keselowski winning his first Daytona 500 as a driver owner with a broken leg would be an incredible story for the sport of NASCAR.
Absolutely. And it's not unheard of. I mean, we saw it back in, I think it was 2011. He broke his leg at a test, went on to win at Pocono like a week later. So, and this is a track where you don't really need to go like all these different braking points and shifting and whatnot. So it's one of his best tracks. He's won on the speedways 7 times in his career. It would be an excellent story. I think the only other argument I would have would be maybe Kyle Busch, who's also seeking his first 500. But yeah, it's got to be those two guys, Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, as your top 2 guys you want to see hoisting that Harley J. Earl trophy.
I want to do this. When Crash and I walked into, what do they call the center? 500?
The 500 building.
The first person I saw, and I'm glad you brought that up, was BK. And that image of him holding his freaking cane. Look at that. It's like, is that evil freaking Knievel? I mean, the way he's even standing with that cane.
He bought that on Amazon.
I don't give a damn. I just look at that cane. I mean, it's like walk. Go ahead.
Did he somersault like Willy Wonka after that picture?
Right.
Somersault into the car.
Attaboy. That is greatness.
Bad Brad.
Whole
new meaning.
I'm going to see if I can freaking. Can you guys could grasp him holding that cane? That was so badass. It's like, man, I'm going to come out here and whoop your ass here, young boy. Yeah, and Brad is, when we first started interviewing him, when he was running for Dale Jr. and his Hellman's, whatever the hell they called the series back then, Xfinity series.
Nationwide.
He would have a tough time finishing a sentence because of his, just whether it was anxiety or whatever it was, just a young kid. Now this guy, you can't get him off the damn mic. He'll just kind of sit back like this and kind of let his junk hang out, and his belly's right there. Like, oh, gather around, kids.
He's so cool with the media obligations too. He's the only driver when you go to those scrums that just takes up one of the journalist seats and it's lounges back, like you said. He's like, yep, take my time answering these questions, go in depth. So he's one of my favorite guys to talk to in the garage, honestly.
Do we have any more BK lined up?
Yeah, let's get to more Brad Keselowski here. So a lot of his storylines obviously was, being asked about his injury and how he's dealing with it. And I thought an interesting question he was asked was like, from somebody, he was like, I remember that one time in Victory Lane you cut your hand, and and when he was celebrating the championship, remember that was iconic.
Yeah.
And so he was asked about like, hey, do you consider yourself to be a tough individual in terms of dealing with pain? So here's Brad Keselowski about being tough, his toughness level, and dealing with injuries. He's driving the race car.
I don't want to miss a race. And this is what I do. I love it. Tough isn't what you say, it's what you do. So I guess we'll find out how I make it through this whole process. But what matters to me is not a label. What matters to me is being able to run this race and having a shot to win. That's what I care about.
Do you feel any pain? Do you feel like you're going to have to tough it out?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be some moments, not just in the race, but over the race weekends to come that are going to be really difficult. So.
Yeah, he went on a little bit further with that in that, any road course, Coda, that's going to be tough. Yeah. I know Joey Hand is going to be his relief driver come Coda. I forget who is his relief driver if he needs it this weekend. I saw it written somewhere. Now I can't think.
See.
It's not Trevor Bain, is it? I don't know. He's got a relief driver on hand, though, this weekend. And then I know Joey Hand, who's an amazing road course driver, will be his relief driver for Coda if necessary.
Hey, he finished runner-up at that Chicago race we were at, Richie. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
With RFK. Yeah.
That's right.
Not a bad sub.
No. Yeah, it's cool to hear. Let's get to Ryan Blaney, if you guys have this. It's cool to hear the excitement and how the atmosphere is just now starting to build for this Daytona 500 coming up. We've all been dying this offseason. We were very sick and tired of a lawsuit that seemed to consume most of our time. Finally, we're back to racing. But I thought Ryan Blaney had some pretty good perspective from when he was a kid watching his dad race to now and getting the actual feeling on the grid. Let's hear what Ryan Blaney has to say in all this lead up.
Yeah, it never gets old. It's always super neat. Sunday mornings here are always really fun to me. They've been fun ever since I was a kid, waking up, getting ready to watch Dad race. There's nothing like it. I try to explain this to people who've never been to the 500. I can't explain to you the amount of people that are here, the atmosphere that is around the build up to the start of the race. It's unlike anything else, personally, in my mind. And it just blows people away. I have people who go to their first 500, they're like, I can't believe there's that many people there, or they didn't understand the scale of it. And that's hard to see on TV. And just like anything, it's hard to see on TV. But yeah, nothing ever gets old. The 7 a.m. Thunderbird flyovers is always a nice wake-up call, and it just gets you ready to go. So I love the build up to it. Where I used to, my first couple 500s, I didn't really like it because there was just a lot going on, and I just wanted to go race. But now, just appreciate it, and understand how cool it is to be part of it.
Will we ever get used to that freaking stash of his?
That thing's really impressive, I got to say.
Whoa.
As somebody who can't grow a mustache, that's impressive.
Man.
And some energy he's got going on now.
Yeah.
Someone pointed this out, too, with that stash. And, again, Joey shaving the lettuce, but Joey has the facial hair. Is Penske just over trying to run these guys live, saying you got to put a freaking razor to that face of yours before you hop in a race car?
No more Penske perfect. Imagine they actually do hold true to that standard and they make Joey just shave his beard so he's completely bald. That'd be quite the sight.
Wouldn't that be epic?
He'd be like George Costanza.
Hope he's got enough sunscreen, or what is it, shiner? Put a little shiner on there. Yeah. So that way, well, I guess he's got his helmet on, so this doesn't make any sense. But I'm just picturing him driving, and then so you try to see him in your mirror, and all you see is just shine from his bald ass head, and it affects the driver in front, and then Joey Logano is able to use it to his advantage and win the race.
It's like SpongeBob. Bald.
Yes, exactly.
Bald.
Exactly.
Well, damn well, Discount Tire or one of those other sponsors, they've been someone's had to inquire. Would you like to sponsor his freaking his dome? He was a good spirits, though, man. Great to see Joey back in the house. Let's move to the next interview. Richard?
Yeah, we got a couple more Ryan Blaney's. Cole, you were on the Ryan Blaney train, so you can tell us what Ryan Blaney had to say here. So set this up for us.
Yeah, so he went to elaborate a little bit further on the build up to the 500. He also gave a little bit more perspective and stuff on the feel of being there in Daytona and the meaning of this race. So I guess we'll go with that one first.
That's the beautiful part of it. You know, there is a build up to it at the place. Like I look at any other sport, whether they have, like the World Series, the Super Bowl, or NBA Finals, like there's not a week build up to it. I guess like NBA and World Series are different because they, best of 7, but like the Super Bowl, right? There's no like at location build up, they like this, like people camping all week, and it just slowly ramps up over the course of 5 days, and then it just the top comes off of it, come Sunday. So, there's no other thing like it. And as a competitor, that's awesome to be a part of, and it's fun to have seen it on both sides. When I was not competing in it as a kid, I thought it was spectacular, and I still think it's just as neat now. Yeah.
Yeah, at first, when I was listening to him say that, I thought, what do you mean there's not a lead up to the Super Bowl? And then I'm like, oh, you're right. Nobody's camping out outside of Levi Stadium. Tailgates happen, but only the day of. So, yeah, it's way on point. You don't get anybody camping out for Major League Baseball or NBA. It is so unique to motorsports, the buildup to motorsports big Super Bowls, including Supercross, including Moto America. It's every single motorsport. You guys listening, watching are a very unique audience.
Mm-hmm. So I found that interesting how he was likening the 500 to like the Super Bowl and the World Series and all these different things. So that was a cool little soundbite. The last thing I got was just more so on the art of drafting at these tracks. Ryan Blaney is obviously one of the best in the sport right now, and he kind of went in depth on what it's like to find people to work with in the draft throughout the race weekend. And obviously, manufacturers come into play, teammates come into play, but at some point it's almost like it's every man for himself at one point.
Yeah, I feel like you're gauging that all week. I wouldn't say all week. You gauge it in the duel, and then you gauge it earlier parts of the race. Like, you notice stuff all the time out there, like, hey, that guy's probably not handling very good, so can I be as aggressive as I want to pushing him because, his car's not great? Could, we cause a big wreck? Like if I have to be aggressive and push him, as opposed to if I see someone who's like making great moves and super stable, like, all right, that guy's going to be able to take pushes. That's the stuff I notice. And then, you're obviously looking for teammates, but you kind of grab whoever you can grab at the end of these things, and you just hold on or hope they hold on if you're pushing them. So, but you gauge that stuff starting Thursday and then through, the first 2/3 of the race on Sunday.
Crash, your arm getting tired there?
Oh, was that when I was on camera and it was shaking?
Yeah, camera's doing the freaking.
Oh yeah, we got shoulder workouts today.
Yeah, you forget about these guys that they're just freaking people, and they're in race cars going 200 miles an hour, and they don't have a computer in their head. All these little dynamics that they're dissecting in a race car 200 miles an hour. That guy's a little loose, just the way they talk about it. But these are happening in milliseconds, and moves that they've got to make. By the time they think about making a move, it's already done. So to hear Blaney put it in lay terms is, again, impressive. And just being able to have those conversations with yourself in a race car going 200 miles an hour is bananas. Crash.
I'm trying to think who else was trying to bring it back into reality. Was it Bubba Wallace talking about how I can't explain this to you guys, talking about a driver to media or a driver to fans. I can't explain this to you guys, but yeah, he was trying to make it like dumb it down for us. And he was just having a difficult time doing that because you're right. It's so second nature to them.
That'd be a good segue into Bubba there, Richard.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace clips. Here's what we got here. Cody Big Johnson was on this for us here this afternoon. So hopefully I set this up right here for you, Cody.
Hold on, we got to get a full screenshot of this guy. Look at that.
Sexy.
Look at that beast.
Oh, hey, Free Nation, if you notice, real quick before we get to Bubba Wallace, Crash, can you tell I am ready for the 500, baby.
I
I'm ready.
see that. But the
It's
other
just-
500,
it's
the
just the
Indy 500,
Superior 500. That's what
the
that was my.
Superior 500.
That's what I was. Yeah, shots fired, NASCAR fans.
Man.
I was like, I don't have any Daytona 500 merch, so I was like, you know what? In the spirit of a 500-mile race, I'll wear the Superior 500. So I'm decked out in Indianapolis.
Is that supposed to be a set of booze?
Settle down, Crash. Yeah, you identify. Yes. You're supposed to act like that's not happening.
Oh, yeah, okay. That didn't happen.
And he's back on his soundboard again. I love it. This is
Here we go.
FS2. FS2.
Real quick, though.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the 500, the Indy 500 that you're wearing, all the garb there, the hat, the shirt, I found it interesting. We saw NASCAR's 2-minute promo. Yeah, 2-minute commercial, basically, last week that they put out on Twitter. And they nonchalantly made fun of whiny engines, saying, we don't have whiny engines. These are our engines. And then they put the big guttural NASCAR noise. But then today, they released the purse for the Daytona 500, which has now eclipsed the largest purse in motorsports history.
Hell yeah.
Over 31 million. Are we seeing some digs? Some NASCAR digs at IndyCar. And could this be something to maybe look forward to? The two sides going at each other, because as long as it's just fun little digs like this, I see nothing wrong with it.
Hell yeah. Again.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to restate NASCAR's new slogan. Hell yeah. That commercial was everything I could have wanted and more for a NASCAR promo. We were giving them crap all offseason for not really promoting the sport, but if you don't watch that trailer or promo and go, hell yeah, at least once, this guy's ripping around the streets in the Mustang, Leonard Skinner, Freebirds playing. Like, it's an awesome, awesome commercial if you haven't seen it. And I think the subtle digs at IndyCar or F1, whether they may or not be there, are a good thing if they are indeed intended to be that way, because it's a friendly rivalry. You're getting these two series pair up at Phoenix here in a few weeks. So, the more back and forth, the better. It's better for both sports, IndyCar and NASCAR.
Yes, without question, because guess what sells? Rivalries. So if each side, if IndyCar can pick up on this and then start to throw their own digs back, I think this could be elevation for both sides of the sport, without question. People want to see rivalries.
That's a mistake that we made today, Crasher. Damn it. Because, come on. We are the instigators of many conversations that might become divisive, depending on what side of the tracks you're from. We should have made that a point today to talk to these guys. Are you better driver than an IndyCar driver? It sounds so lame and weak, but there would be some drivers that would go for it.
Yeah, somewhat.
How's it going?
Kyle Larson's answer on that.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
First of all, I agree with you, Kenny. Yes, but the thing that we always bring up, Kenny, that you always bring up too, and people always forget, and I always forget. Cole, you may forget this too. People watching who are may not as into any cars, no power steering in those dang cars.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Freaking tough.
Yeah.
Man.
It's like, hey, ask, because how many NASCAR drivers do we see? I think Denny Hamlin, right? I think at Dover, maybe one of these.
It was a short track.
It was one of the races later in the season, and he had no power steering for like the entire last quarter of the race, and a race that he had dominated really up until that point, and then he had lost the race. He didn't end up winning it because he had no power steering.
Yep.
And so that's good luck, NASCAR drivers without power steering. So,
all right, let's go, Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace. All right, here's Bubba Wallace. He was asked, and this is something that we have asked a lot of drivers in the past. I remember a couple of years ago, we asked a lot of people this, and there was a lot of differing answers from a lot of these guys. Well, here's Bubba Wallace's take: Daytona 500 or championship.
I know we've asked you this before. Daytona 500 or the championship, what would mean more to your career at this very point?
Championship. Yeah, championship for sure. That means you've conquered it all. You've done it. Winning the 500 is, not to downplay, but it's just winning a race. So yeah, I would say championship for sure.
That's interesting.
I know. It is interesting.
I'm kind of curious how the IndyCar drivers would react to that question with the 500 versus the championship as well, because it seems like, and this is again me being a new IndyCar watcher, I feel like IndyCar, it's almost more highly regarded to have a 500 win as opposed to a championship. I don't know. That could be just me.
Ask Elio Castroneves. He never won the IndyCar championship, but he has 4 Indy 500s.
Mm-hmm.
Cole, I don't. It's not a surprise, frankly. I think that some drivers, if they answer honestly, it's Indy 500 all day. But from a politically correct standpoint, it's championship. But frankly, Crasher and I've asked drivers about this numerous times, and more often than not, they'll say the 500, just given the weight of winning that race.
Because you could be a nobody and win the 500, and then you're off to New York and LA, and other people get to know you. And you win the 500, you get to do Dancing with the Stars, right, Elio?
And win it. Yeah.
And win it. Yeah. So, I mean, the 500 on the IndyCar side of things, the 500 creates status. Now, Daytona, I would say the same thing. Because I think I found it interesting that Bubba Wallace immediately defaulted to saying the championship, because that makes you the more well-rounded driver. It's an accomplishment of the entire season. While I understand that answer, the Daytona 500 vaults you into kind of immediate superstar status too. So I don't know. It is interesting. It's clearly driver specific.
Well, the eyeballs that are on the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500 versus Phoenix for Cup in the final race and Laguna Seca for the IndyCar race. And we're sitting here acting like we know what the hell's going on inside of a damn race car, like it really freaking matters. Anyway.
Real quick before we move on to Bubba Wallace, I was curious because this is Bubba Wallace, who is really good at super speedways, finished second, I believe, twice in the Daytona 500. Somebody who he won the Daytona duel, one of the Daytona duels last season. He's somebody who I would expect to be a front runner.
Absolutely.
On Sunday, come Daytona 500. Shocking to me, maybe not too shocking, depending on the speed of the Toyotas, which we've seen in the past, lacking in single car speed. But Bubba Wallace, if you look at the odds, Cole, money stop coming up here later this week. He is plus 5,500 to win the pole tonight.
Yeah.
Which, yes, Daytona 500 pole qualifying coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Fox. Looking forward to it. Should be exciting. Bubba Wallace's odds are the same as Riley Herbst at plus 5,500.
Oh.
It is worse than Connor Zilisch, who is a rookie.
That is wild, man.
Hold on a second, Richie. I'm looking at something different then.
It's probably the 500 winner.
Oh yeah, so we're still talking pole.
I'm talking pole because that's what's going on tonight.
I mean, I can get that because the Toyota single car speed, but also Chase Briscoe's favored as Toyota to
plus
win the
550.
pole. But I will say this while we're on the topic of odds and whatnot in qualifying. Brad Keselowski, in the same breath, one of the best racers of all time on these tracks in Daytona and Talladega. He's plus 2,200 to win the pole, and he's going out second to last. So that's a big advantage. Yeah. That's a great one to maybe consider there for betting tonight.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Then if that's the case, why aren't we just going full-fledged Richie and going $15 on Bubba Wallace for the pole?
And BK.
Brad Keselowski, why not?
Bubba and BK?
Why not?
Why not?
Cole Cusomano?
Yeah, why not?
I as Richie alluded to, the money stop's coming up next live on YouTube here. Brad Keselowski is going to be one of the favorites of the race. Again, going out second to last for the qualifying tonight. I think he's a great bet and a great value at plus 2,200 for the pole. So why not?
Are you going to put your $15?
No, I don't like. I'm not a big betting on motorsports guy because there are so many options. I've always been bad at it. I gotta listen to the money stop, and then I can make my decision.
There you
go.
It is.
Cody, Cole, and I were talking before the show that Hendrick usually is the one to beat here in qualifying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alex Bowman is sat on the front row for I feel like 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you bet against a Hendrick driver. So if we're up to me, that's where I would go with. And I would just maybe I'll do that. You know what? Screw it. I still have money in my DraftKings account because I won money on the Super Bowl. $5 at every Hendrick driver except for Kyle Larson because he's got no shot. Okay,
Richie,
Hey, Richie, will you put something down for me? I'm in freaking Florida, and those happy bastards haven't legalized it yet. I can't vote.
No, they do.
You
Yeah,
can't vote.
yeah.
I can't gamble.
I swear they do.
I think
Bro,
you can do it there.
listen, FanDuel is not allowing. It says sports betting is available in the states below, and there is no effing freaking Florida.
Try Hard Rock Bet. Hard Rock Bet.
Yeah, that's it.
Hard Rock Bet is available in Florida. You got to download that, and there you go.
Well, I'm just gonna go to my special little VPN in Vegas. Yeah,
Nice.
kids, do not try that at home. I probably
So for
busted
those
all kinds of
listening
rules
right
by
now-
saying that.
For those listening right now, it's Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, and since Richie said every Hendrick car besides Larson, Kyle Larson.
Oh, that's right, because it's called the
Richie
Richie Jinx. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's shut. We did some GDAM work today, guys. Let's hear some more Bubba. What do we
We have
have?
so many. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we go. So this weekend, I think Fox put together a documentary about this, which I have not seen yet. I don't know if anybody else in the Freak Nation has seen this, which I think it's already out.
Oh, is this it, Richie? Is this what they put together? Is that the documentary they put together, my friend? Huh?
No, that's not. I mean, heck, it could.
Oh, that's
be,
not?
but No.
All right, sorry.
I've been getting
I recognize those people. Put that up. Put that up.
Hold on here.
Nation.
All right.
Who are those people? I don't recognize any of those people. There they are.
Jeez.
Who are those people?
Yeah. I recognize Cole and I recognize Cody, but the other three, nah, not so much.
Who's the guy that does the pit reporting for CW?
Parker Kligerman?
Is it Parker?
Yeah. Do I kind of look like Parker, or is that Regan?
Oh.
Regan. Who do I look like?
You're more Parker,
A
yeah,
mix of both.
for sure.
Yeah. Cole, where's your right hand right now in that picture?
Oh my God.
I mean, I didn't make the AI graphics.
Where are you,
I don't
buddy?
know.
I mean, where's Richie's? I mean, look at Cody's freaking smiling his ass off, and Richie's kind of leaning over towards Cody. Holy smoke! Where's my left hand? Cole, you smiling?
Yeah. Jeez, man, that's crazy.
All right, we have a lot of people tuning in
All
to
right,
watch
sorry.
this now. So
Yeah.
All right.
Can we get
promote
off
the
the
show,
bus?
Kenny. Explain
All right.
to the people why we're bringing up that graphic, and then we'll get back to Bubba Wallace.
Freak Nation, we dropped the news on Monday that Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We are not on Racer. We have moved to the behemoth known as Fox Sports FS2. You can catch us 10 o'clock, Freak Nation. The very first hour of each show will be on FS2. And then the full 2 hours, frankly, will be on every other media outlet that we have, including YouTube, where we'll do the full first hour, kind of like Pat McAfee does, where he'll do a certain amount of time on ESPN and then go over to YouTube or continue on YouTube. That's what we're going to do. But regardless, we'll debut on Fox Sports FS2 this Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, for the future of the Freak Nation. We will do our best not to aggravate half of America with things that we say and do. We wouldn't be the freaks then if we didn't do that, right?
Yeah, this is TV though
Yeah,
that
yeah.
requires us to have a little bit of
Yep.
a little bit of
Can I still
control.
wear these snappy short shorts on Sunday
No.
nights and show that much thigh? Huh?
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna.
hot.
If that happens, I'm bringing my guy with his big stick. Take care of you, man. Look at that guy. Bad Brad and his big stick. That's so good.
That is a
Brad
t-shirt.
That's so good. Bad Brad and his big stick. That's awesome. Sorry. All right. Where were we?
All right, yeah,
Bubba.
back on track. Yeah, thanks to everybody who's watching us on YouTube right now. I got a lot of people watching us. If you're watching us for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop us a like on this video. Go ahead and comment who you think's going to win the poll tonight too, and get it. We've already told you our picks just a little bit earlier, so I want to hear from you guys who you're picking. But let's go back to Bubba Wallace. So before we got sidetracked, this year Fox Sports put out a documentary kind of reflecting on the 25-year anniversary of the death of Dale Earnhardt and how the racing community reacted to Dale Sr.'s death in 2001. There were interviews with Frankie Muniz, who told the story about how he was one of the last few people to talk to Dale before his death because they they talk to each other on pit lane before the race, and I think there's a picture of them together as well. So we hear from Frankie and among other people in and around the NASCAR community. Well, Bubba Wallace was asked about this year being the 25th anniversary of Dale Earnhardt's death.
Bubba, it's been 25 years since NASCAR lost Dale Earnhardt. In your, however you want to describe it, how does the sport still remember him? How does he still kind of loom over NASCAR?
Yeah, well, I think, we have any major wreck and drivers are able to climb out okay, like, that's thanks to Dale. Obviously we had to go through a tragedy to learn and be better, but I think he's still with us each and every weekend, and I think he'll always be with us. So, yeah.
Were you a Dale Earnhardt fan?
I was a Dale Earnhardt fan because my parents were. I was kind of young, and didn't really know what NASCAR was then, but they were fans. So I was like, I'll cheer for the three.
There were several drivers asking about the Dale Earnhardt Sr. tributes and a lot of Greg Biffle questions today as well. The questioning was just spanning the spectrum. But yeah, I did enjoy hearing some Dale Earnhardt Sr. throwbacks for sure.
R.I.P.
I could go on and on about that. I know exactly where we all know exactly where we were. I remember
it was our first Daytona 500 as a show, SpeedFreaks.
Yeah, and the phone call that I got from Crash, we were 6 months into our show, and it was, "Are you effing? Is this real? Is this real? Are you effing kidding me? Is this happening? Yo, man, this is happening." And it shook the. And again, this is 6 months into SpeedFreaks, and little did we know what it would change for NASCAR going forward.
Yeah. What was the quote somebody had on X today? I think it was a Ricky Craven quote from that same year. I think it was around practice time. And it was either Ricky Craven or Ricky Rudd. Anyway, it was, we're going to look back on this time in 25 years from now. And I think this was when they were just practicing for Daytona. The race had not happened yet. So before Dale, unfortunately, lost his life. But we're going to look back on this time and wonder, how in the heck did we race with just concrete walls? And I'm like, whoa. So now here we are 25 years from when he made that statement. And yeah, how the heck did you race with just concrete walls? So 2001 was also, I believe, the implementation of the soft walls at Daytona.
Well, that and adhering to the specifics about seat placement. The Hans device started to, it had always been discussed.
But it was never mandatory.
It was never mandatory. But once that happened and the details came out of how Dale died, man, you couldn't slow dudes down running to a Hans.
At the time, it was only the Hans device. And the NASCAR group, or drivers in the NASCAR group, thought the Hans device was too restrictive.
I was saying Haas. Sorry, Hans. Yeah.
They kept comparing it to a toilet seat. So then that group, just a variety of people in that group, ended up inventing the Hutchins device, which was a lot less restrictive.
Got it. All right, next.
Yeah, we still got a couple more guys to get to here that we haven't heard from yet, including Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Connor Zilisch. Big Glenn in the chat is picking Connor Zilisch tonight, I believe, to win the pole, which would be awesome. Talk about another great story if Connor Zilisch won the pole. I think it was Chastain was the fastest Trackhouse guy this afternoon.
Oh, this afternoon. I'm sorry.
Right? Yeah. In practice, I think Ross was fastest.
Yeah, Ross was second quick.
And then
then
Zilisch was like 17th or 18th. And then poor SVG was just like, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so it looks like second fastest was, Ross Chastain. Then you had, Connor Zilisch 17th quick, SVG way down 38th quick. So pretty spread out.
My boy SVG.
That doesn't even matter for Daytona.
Hey, dude, he was leading laps at Daytona in August. I thought he was going to win the dang race, and that would have been awesome if he actually would have won his first pole at Daytona. That would be sick. Anyway,
hey, is the one I see there with Connor? Is this about the advice of running the 500?
Yes. Cody's giving me the thumbs up.
We were the first ones to jump. We saw Connor walk in, and of course, he had to hear it from the freaks first. And they're when you're asking someone who's running the Daytona 5, not like this happens every year, but when you're asking someone who's run the Daytona 500 for the very first time, there's just questions that you ask. You roll with this, you go A, B, C, D. But the expectations behind Connor Zilisch, who, again, some are picking the odds of him winning the championship are absolutely bananas. But Connor Zilisch, of course, one of the questions you asked someone for the first time in the 500 in a Cup car is about the advice that he's received. I was going to do it, but I'll do it, Cody. I got it.
And then flipping to Daytona, what's some of the best advice you've been given coming into the season opener?
Yeah, I mean, run all the laps is the biggest thing. I think if you make it to the end of this one, you can have a solid day. But, there's no crazy advice I've been given for this race in particular. It's certainly different now with fuel saving and just being a unique race. But I'm excited for it. I think my biggest piece of advice that people have given me is just enjoy the experience.
Bam. Yep. Man, we've got so much freaking content from these dudes, man. I think this is what we'll do, Richie, is I don't want to spend a whole lot of time editing these bits. I'm just going to put them up raw because and again, we're working this out in front of thousands of people watching us right now. But the way I modified the audio, you basically can hear everybody asking the questions. That's probably what I'm going to do is just put it up raw. That's because the conversation with Connor was just badass. And cutting these down into sound bites would be kind of lame when you could just throw it out there to say, let's roll. Sound good, Richard? I'm assuming the people are hungry for NASCAR. Yeah.
Again, thanks to everybody tuning in. Got a lot of people tuning in right now. So go ahead and comment away if you have any questions or comments, because I want to get to those. Because after all, Freak Nation, here on Horsepower Hump Day, unlike our Sunday night show where we're a little bit restricted to time, we can talk about anything we want to. We got no breaks to get onto, so I want to hear from you guys in our YouTube comments. Let us know if you want to hear anything. But yeah, I actually didn't listen to all the Connor Zilisch stuff, so among other things. So I'm assuming a lot of people here in the Freak Nation watching this for the first time want to hear from these drivers. So yeah, put them all up. Why not?
All right. So hey, Cody, let me do this. I'm going to handle the next two, my friend. This more with Connor Zilisch, and if this is your first time tuning into the Freak Nation, thank you for doing that. But if you've been with us for quite a while now, you know that there are bandwagons that we hop on. We hopped on the Connor Zilisch bandwagon really early, 4 years ago.
Full Trans Am days.
Yeah, when in the TA2 class, he was schooling dudes, old dudes, young dudes, men and women. He was just putting a beat down on people, really showing his wares and showing his ways and wares in a race car. And this guy was doing crazy things. So needless to say, we're a little partial to Connor. But one of the things that we talked to him about was what's he looking forward to for his first Daytona 500.
What part of race day Sunday, your first Daytona 500, are you looking forward to the most?
I think just, driver intros, walking across the stage, and then obviously the race. I mean, the race is going to be really cool, and just the whole experience. I think there's nothing I can really pinpoint and say, man, that's going to be my favorite part. I think I'm just going to try and enjoy the entire day, but it's going to be really cool to walk across the stage and hear my name introduced and, get to race in the Daytona 500.
It's watching the cars come around turn 4, running in front of the grandstands. It's trust me, it's not as epic as being on that first turn for the Indy 500. It's just not, but it's
you're farther away from the track.
It's a close
There's
second.
a difference there.
It's a close second when you just hear thousands and thousands and thousands of horsepower coming around that bend and revving it up through that front stretch and going into one. Chung, 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 chung. There's something about it that
I don't think I would have done that as my NASCAR sound.
That's a good,
yeah, when they're going past the camp. Crash still hung up on.
I like whiny race car sounds. Sorry.
I get it. But there's just you could tell, and again, Connor's run this track. He has in Xfinity Series and sports cars, but in the Cup car, it's just a different animal. So just love to have a camera on his freaking face. Was like, whoa, man. But hey, leave it to me to bring it down in the conversation with Connor, talking about last time we jammed a mic in his face was after his loss at Phoenix the next day. Connor, the last time we stuck a mic in your face was the day after Phoenix. It looked like you went 20 rounds, like you got your butt beat, and you were just kind of miserable. How long did you hang on to those thoughts of what shoulda, coulda, woulda to win that championship?
Yeah, I got past it pretty quick. It was probably a week or so, less than a week, and I quickly realized I have a lot more to be excited about than I do to sit there and get upset about the fact that I didn't win a championship. So, it's just the fact. If I didn't have anything going for me and that was my make or break moment, it would have been different. But I have a lot to look forward to and a lot to work on moving forward, and that needs to be my focus.
Is he young enough to be your son, Richie? No, you're what, 30? How old are you?
Actually, no. I was thinking about it, but no.
Yeah.
No, because he's 19. I'm 35. That's
no. Hey,
not impossible, but
no.
It's not in this day and age. It's not impossible in this day and age.
I was gonna say if it was like a 20-year age gap, then that's fine. Like,
right.
But yeah, no.
There you go, Connor Zilisch, man. We wish him the best. Anything this guy does, and again, seeing his fresh face up there with all these old dudes that been talking the same mess for the last 20 years. It's cool to get him up in the Freak Nation and just to be Connor.
Watch him win a duel Thursday night, tomorrow night. Watch him win the O'Reilly race on Saturday. Media will be going nuts, absolutely nuts for him to three-peat on the weekend. And that's not an easy feat. It would be sick, but it's not easy.
I like that call for a dual win, though. I could see that happening. That'd be awesome.
I could too.
What would be a bigger? Well, gosh, give me a reaction of Cody's face when I ask this.
Oh boy,
who's? I'm talking about pure numbers. Who is? When I say most popular, I don't necessarily mean most positively popular, but whose name is more popular here? Bubba Wallace, not Connor Zilisch, or Cletus McFarland? All right.
Oh, he's black. There he is.
There you go.
Cody.
So you think Cletus?
He doesn't have his mic connected. I think that's why. But I think he says Cletus.
Maybe I'm digging here, but just thinking, what would be the bigger win for NASCAR? Would it be Connor winning Sunday? Would it be Bubba finally winning Daytona 500, or Cletus McFarland winning the truck race?
Oh man, that is a tough one.
I don't know. I just don't think the truck race translates to mainstream media as much as Sunday's race does. So
I agree.
I mean, Cletus is a huge name, but
right.
I just, even if he were to win, I don't think that translates.
It's Bubba, because Bubba is headline news on every network station, right? He's the one driver that wins this race that's going to show up on the Today Show the next morning.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I would say from a broad scope, Bubba for sure. In like the NASCAR space, I think Connor Zilisch winning would probably be the biggest, because taking over that iconic 88 car, he's this young hotshot rookie who's a generational talent. So I think in like the little NASCAR space, Connor Zilisch winning would be huge, but in the same breath, from a broader scope, general audiences, Bubba Wallace for sure.
All right, ASU education coming through for Cole Cusomano.
Yeah, our chat here is weighing in. We have, in terms of, you were asking like who's more popular, Cletus or Bubba Wallace, and Cleat 100%. Cletus for the Biff. Bubba Wallace and Cletus are definitely the most mentioned on socials. So we got a lot of fans of Cletus McFarland here. Side note, his paint scheme for Friday night, badass, with the Black Rival Coffee Company and the old Roush number 4 as well.
So nice.
Sick.
Yeah,
man. Okay, now here's one for you guys. All right, you have again, Cletus has not been in the Freak Nation, but Travis Pastrana has been coming to the Freak Nation for 25 years. He's been in here a dozen times. Same for Tony Stewart. Cletus, Smoke, or Pastrana?
Jeez. I feel like that's kind of before my time when Pastrana was big, and I was never like big into the YouTube space, so I can't really speak on the Cletus thing. I'm gonna go Tony Stewart though. Tony Stewart is my guy.
All right. Well, let's do this. Let's get a little more realistic. Win, place, and show. Where do they end up?
Oh, Smoke, Pastrana, Cletus. Sorry, Cody. I know Cody's probably mad at me right now, but did I see that Cletus even hit the wall and is in getting his license for this?
Yes.
Well, so did Ross Chastain to move into the freaking
you aren't wrong. There you go.
The wall said.
Okay. If you scrub the wall at Daytona, come on, man. That's tough.
Look at all these people in the chat. All smoke here.
Smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke.
Give me Tony Stewart. Smoke.
Cletus McFarland. No. Cletus was doing some. Hasn't he done some? He hasn't done like Top Fuel or anything, but he's done some drag racing, hasn't he? Yeah. So he's like Tony Stewart light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I wish Cody was connected.
Me too. Yeah. We're like playing telephone here, like we're in high school.
We are, aren't we?
I like Brian's comment. Cletus would be best for the growth of the sport. And actually, that's something that Denny Hamlin talked about. I don't think we sent this to you guys. In length, Denny gave some interesting bits of information on how, yes, we're fine. We, as in like drivers and teams, are fine with NASCAR right now, yet we still are on the repair mode a little bit. The new advertising, slowly but surely, is coming out and people are happy with it. But Denny added to that and said, we still need to find a way to really grow the sport. We need someone or some entity to come in, and I'm not kidding you, this is what he said, and invest billions of dollars to move the sport forward.
That's a great transition, because we have that audio. So instead of reciting it to you, Free Nation, you can hear from Denny Hamlin himself talking about how NASCAR needs more investment in the vein of Liberty Media did to Formula One.
Well, it's going to take a substantial investment. Whether it's from them or someone from the outside. I know you hear rumblings about that, but someone needs to come in and invest like billions into heavy promotion, heavy upgrades on just things. And while it might be a short-term loss, it certainly will have long-term gain. We saw what happened with Liberty Media, what they did with F1. They came in and influxed a lot of money into the sport, and it took off. And that's just the way that it works nowadays. And so I think that's the kind of thing that you need. And it's certainly good to see some of the promotion that they're doing to start the season. I've been very happy with the direction that I've heard that they're going as far as their social and digital content. I believe it's the right direction, but it needs something big to change to really take it and back into the growth mold that we're all hoping for. We can tread water, we can do that, but I think that it's going to take a significant investment to really grow this thing.
When he said, I was standing there when he said that. I think you had the mic and I was whatever. When he said tread water, that's when my ears perked up, because say what you will about Steve Phelps, all right? And I probably agree with half of it, but I was one of the biggest cheerleaders for Steve Phelps and what he brought to NASCAR, taking it to a level that, frankly, it needed to be. Have they left some people behind with their direction? Absolutely. But when Denny Hamlin said, we can tread water, that tells you his perspective of where NASCAR is right now. And it's not necessarily treading water because of the racing on the track. It's about how you promote a freaking series. how you promote an event, just how you promote it yourself. And we heard that in the IndyCar garage for years, how drivers would come up to us and go, can you please talk to our production company or this group? Because we know who used to do the production, and share with them some of your irreverent Speed Freaks takes on how to show them the interviews that you just did with me. Helio Castroneves screaming. It's like when your series is so caught up in the political correctness, and I'm not saying cross the line. I'm just saying just find an edge that somebody can grab a hold of that may not be familiar with your series or like your series, that kind of goes, whoa, I might need to tune back in. That's what Denny's saying without saying it, that we've got to find ourselves first. Is it hell yeah and going back to our roots? That might be part of it, but the evolution of media and content and personalities, that's passing NASCAR by. That's passing IndyCar by. That's passing Supercross by. Supercross is in its own little vacuum. So's IndyCar. NASCAR is a little outside that vacuum, in that the personality of the sport per se, it just needs to be able to transcend, like Formula One, one of the most boring freaking series on the planet. But my God, the growth of that, what Liberty Media had done, what Netflix did for that series, man, if NASCAR and IndyCar and every other motorsport series here in the U.S. can even sniff some of that. That's what Denny Hamlin is talking about when he says, we can tread water, but the influx of billions of dollars equity, not hedge fund, but equity groups out there. Not hedge fund, I didn't want to say it, but equity groups that frankly have been, other countries wanted to come in and invest. Treading water isn't going to get you there. It's being forward thinking, and what Steve Phelps brought to freaking round this up, what Steve Phelps brought forward thinking to a degree to help bring NASCAR into where we are in 2026 and all the media entities and directions that we're going with content. If they could just put a freaking ribbon, a bow around that damn thing and start to move forward, you won't need to tread water anymore. Damn, that was a long way of saying that. Sorry about that. And how many viewers do we lose? Oh, hell, we got more of it.
We got more people. I was just about to say, Kenny, people are tuning in, enjoying your rant. Can you please tell the people who we are and where they can find us on Sunday nights? Now,
Freak Nation, we are celebrating 25 years plus of Speed Freaks. Thank you guys for coming and being a part of the Freak. You are the Freak Nation if you're watching right now. We're all freaks, man. Be sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure you check out Twitter, Instagram, X, TikTok. We're all there for you, man. Been doing this for 25 freaking years. You like drag racing, Supercross, NASCAR, IndyCar, we're here for you. We're not just a NASCAR show. We know what the freaking 800-pound gorilla is there, Big Daddy. We know it's NASCAR. But at the same time, we're all motorheads, and we appreciate you guys coming in, which, by the way, Sunday nights, 10 p.m., we debut on Fox Sports FS2. We were on Racer. We've been on ESPN. We're on ESPN2. We're on Speed. Now we're with the behemoth of Fox Sports come Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Is that good, Rich?
That's very good. There you go. That's everybody's introduction to the Freak Nation if you're doing this for the first time. Also, side note, Cole and his brother Steven with the Money Stop. Since there's so many people tuning in, Kenny, we're going to stay live on this channel as soon as you guys sign off after a long day at Daytona. And Cole and Steven are going to take over, and they're going to take over from the Money Stop point of view, not only for qualifying tonight, because there's plenty of bets to be made. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but coming up for the Daytona 500 and previewing the season debut of the Money Stop coming up on Friday.
That's right. Yep. NASCAR's most important bet and stop of the day. Going on year 6 now. We had our most successful season yet of analysis and betting stuff.
Say hello to your brother, Cole. Say hello to your damn brother. I just put
welcome me in. There's the
I just put it on the damn screen.
Steven. Your favorite Paisan, Staten Island's finest, the Cusomano brothers. We got you guys. We got an offer you can't refuse. That's all I'm going to say.
We have like 3 states represented right now. I'm in New Jersey. You're in Florida. You're in Arizona. This is great.
That's right.
That's how we roll. Hey, real quick, now that we have the Cusomano brothers on here, real quick, guys, who's the sexiest out of you two?
It's not me.
Let's have the listeners decide. Comment, Cole or Steven.
Listen. I chose to be a writer for a reason. Steven's the guy that gets his face on the camera. He does the play-by-play for the Yankees AA team. So he can take that crown for being the most attractive Cusomano brother. I'll submit.
I'll tell you, who doesn't hold a candle to either one of us is AI Cole. That guy is good looking.
Got that snazzy green turtleneck, the coiffed hair. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is
a good looking dude.
Kind of a comic book or something.
Yeah, that's the thing about AI. I just want to get this up. Am I just? There it is.
I don't know.
Hello?
Where is it? See it, Ken.
You don't see it? I see it.
We got so many people.
Not on my screen.
Oh, there it is.
I can see it. All right.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
that was a good looking group.
and it's gone.
Oh, I promise.
Bottom line, SpeedFreaks.
Production.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
debut. Right. Yeah. Sunday night, hopefully after the Daytona 500, because somebody earlier in the comments did say, you never know. It's Daytona. It could run late. Even if it does, we still go live 10 p.m. Eastern every single Sunday night, regardless if there's a race on. We will still wrap it up and have anything else from the weekend in motorsports. I think it's time for Horsepower Hump Day to be done. Move on to the money stop.
All right. Hey, Steven.
Brothers.
Thanks, Steven. All right, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
You'll be back here shortly.
Oh,
all right.
Fantastic.
Later.
Yeah, we're not done with you yet.
Freaking technology, man. God, crazy. Technology blows. God.
Can I go to our comments real quick before you guys wrap up here? You were talking about kind of growing the sport and your rant a little bit earlier, Kenny, which was great, and I agree with pretty much all of it. But a lot of people in the chat are saying the same thing, and this is, I think, the one thing that NASCAR's got to figure out moving forward, which is they just started their brand new broadcast package last year, and so they're split amongst Fox again on Prime, TNT, and NBC, right? So they're split against all these different networks. And one of the things that fans are trying me in on here is it's hard to watch races now, which is true. It's hard to watch races, and in this day and age, people's attention spans not as long. Like, they don't just want to watch racing, so they're having issues again with the amount of commercials that you see during races, which you don't get in Formula One, because you watch race in Formula One completely commercial free. I was actually watching the first day of testing out of Bahrain today. 1 hour, completely commercial free, and it was awesome. And so I wonder if that's something NASCAR works towards in the future, is doing like an alternate thing. So yes, Formula One does have their rights in the United States, which is Apple TV now, right? It used to be ESPN, but in most cases, you would be able to subscribe to F1 TV, and then you get that race completely commercial free, right? So I wonder if NASCAR in the future moves ahead to doing something like that, to where first thing you could do is shorten the races, and that would help, which is one of my big things. I've been saying that for years. You shorten the races, and it's a lot easier to have less commercials. So that's the one thing I'm seeing in the chat here is a lot of folks talking about that. So we thank them for chiming in.
All right, I'm about to run out of juice on my computer here. That's why I want to plug in here. Give me some
then
more.
You guys, we can wrap up. We've been going for almost an hour and a half.
Okay, hold on. I had something. Hold on. I had something. Am I delayed on the broadcast? Am I doing all right?
Yeah. You're choppy for me. I don't even know if you're on there anymore.
Yeah, you're laggy.
Yeah, it's that $500 billion, as Cody said earlier today in their chat. It's that $300 billion renovations to Daytona, but they couldn't afford the Wi-Fi.
No, the Wi-Fi is fine. My computer is about to die, man. It's basic ass broadcast 101 here, man. Charge your ass before you go, baby. Man. All right. Hey, yeah, we're going to shut the hell up, man. We haven't eaten a damn thing all day, which means I'm going to go get me some beers and get blown off a freaking 16-ounce Budweiser here at Daytona. So I'm going to roll.
That'd be Busch Light.
Right.
That's what's all around here.
Don't forget, Freak Nation, the Cusomano brothers will stay on this feed for your betting insight for the NASCAR Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday. Thank you guys for being a part of this big old thing. Be sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube page with Official Speed Freaks, because we will be posting those full unedited interviews with Denny Hamlin, Connor Zilisch, big ass Brad Keselowski, and Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, and more.
Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney,
Yep.
Denny Hamlin. Yep, lots.
All right.
Lots.
All right, guys. Later.
Money Stop Mafia. Look who it is. Cole's still here pulling double duty, huh?
Yeah, we're doing triple duty, actually. We're doing we had Horsepower Hump Day that just wrapped up. We're doing our first ever live recording of the Money Stop for our 2026 preview, which will be penny stocks or future bets, championship, you name it. And then we're going after that into our Daytona 500 episode, which will air 7 a.m. Eastern time on Friday. So a very busy one for old Cole over here.
Yeah, Wednesday, February 11th, triple header for Cole Cusomano. Let's just explain really quick, Cole, what this podcast is, who we are, because there are a lot of different viewers watching this. What is the most important pit stop of any race in any form of motorsports?
Well, we saw that in the championship. It's the Money Stop.
You can't win the race without the Money Stop. You can't win your NASCAR bets without listening to the most important NASCAR betting stop of the day. That's why we're called the Money Stop. We're brothers. I'm the little bro, Steven. Cole, obviously, we are the Money Stop Mafia together. We want to put some money in your pocket. This is season 6 of the Money Stop, and we're coming off of our most successful one yet, Cole.
Yeah, it was an incredible season. I think just both of us being in the sports space, you being in baseball, me being around motorsports and specifically NASCAR for almost 10 years, we've been able to really develop analytical minds and really just get ahead of the curve on the betting for motorsports and specifically NASCAR. So our goal in doing the Money Stop is to get these episodes out before practice and qualifying usually. Usually Fridays we'll release the episodes. This way you can maximize the value for when the lines open up. And we've had a really successful year. I mean, successful tenure in total, but last year was just off the charts. Crazy numbers and success for us here at the Money Stop.
And we have some really fun and exciting things planned for this season as well. We're going to get into all that. We're going to start this podcast and this episode of the Money Stop the same way that we start every episode, and that's with a segment that we call Splash and Go. Usually that would be a quick pit stop. It's not even part of the Money Stop necessarily in real life, but that's how we start a podcast. We just splash through kind of the main storylines, information entering that given week's race. And I want to get right into this, Cole, because I know you guys just talked about a lot of it on Horsepower Hump Day and obviously throughout the offseason, but there's a lot to cover that impacts betting entering 2026. So as we breeze through these storylines, have to start by mentioning Kyle Larson, of course, was the 2025 champion, two-time champion, Young Money, also won our first year doing this podcast, 2025. And of course, I think the talking point I want to raise first here, Cole, obviously Kyle Larson speaks for himself, right? He's going to be a contender for futures bets, penny stocks, every single race weekend. We'll get to that later. I want to quickly open the floor to you about Denny Hamlin, because the fashion in which he lost that championship at Phoenix, where he was laps away from becoming a champion, and obviously had the tragic passing of his father in the offseason and was completely consumed by this lawsuit for the entire second half of the season mostly, and then obviously bleeding deep into the offseason. It's safe to say there's been a lot of Denny Hamlin that is off the racetrack that has been important for us to keep an eye on. Going into 2026, how much, if at all, does that impact your opinion or your reluctancy, perhaps, to bet on Denny Hamlin?
Honestly, I just think it adds more fuel to Denny Hamlin's fire to go out there and get that elusive championship. He had arguably the best season of any driver last year. The run he had in the championship race was just incredible. He led, I think 80% of the race, or almost 80% of the race, and then came up short after William Byron blew a tire with 2 to go as he was leading, and then he lost the championship and the race win ultimately off the Money Stop, where Cliff Daniels chose to take 2 tires, and that put Kyle Larson ahead and able to win the championship. But I don't think any of that's going to really impact him negatively. The only thing that I think is going to impact him this season is the fact that he has an issue going on in his right shoulder. He went into detail about this throughout media day and whatnot, about how it's pretty beat up, and it was ailing him for the latter part of last season, And even in the season prior, it's just kind of got re-aggravated. So he's opting not to get surgery because it would take a little bit to recover. I think that the time period was about 3-4 months. So he doesn't want to miss out in time, obviously. So that may impact his ability to finish these things off and be as competitive as he was. But you really don't know. And just to pile on to that, he re-aggravated his shoulder when his parents' house burned down. He was going through the rubble and he slipped and fell, and that re-aggravated it. So other than that, I don't think there's going to be a lot of hangover, if you will, for Denny Hamlin, who is coming off a big win in his lawsuit against NASCAR with the Charters.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Denny Hamlin. I'm with you in that the shoulder is probably more of a concern. And listen, he's 45. I think every athlete in any sport has to have a decline at some point. We haven't seen it yet with Denny Hamlin. So I'm definitely in wait-and-see mode with him as we enter the Daytona 500. And again, it's still Denny Hamlin. We still know what he's capable of, that he is, although not a champion, a championship caliber driver. I want to keep things moving here, Cole, because we have a lot to get to. We're going to eventually get to our favorite picks, not for the Daytona 500 in this episode. We're going to talk mainly futures bets here, which are penny stocks. We're going to take it to the bank. We're going to give you our big money bets, which are our favorite prop bets and things of that sort. But a couple more silly season moves for us to discuss. Connor Zilisch going to the 88 full-time with Trackhouse Racing. Daniel Suarez vacating that seat, going to the 7 at Spire Motorsports. Any quick thoughts on, I guess, what to expect from those two drivers that maybe viewers that are tuning in right now didn't already hear you say during Horsepower Hump Day?
I think we'll get to Zilisch more here as the episode goes on, but I am a big fan of them moving him to the 88 car and putting SVG in the 97. Just from a marketing standpoint, it's very smart for Trackhouse and Justin Marks, who know what they're doing, obviously. 88 is one of the most iconic numbers in the sport, whether it be Dale Jarrett, Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt Jr. So to put a generational talent like Connor Zilisch behind the wheel, I think it's going to be great for the sport in terms of growth. From a performance perspective, again, we'll get to that later on, but I think he's in store for another huge season like he had last year in the now newly branded NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. As far as Suarez goes, I don't know if we're going to get to him a whole lot, so I will go a little bit more in depth here. I am very intrigued to see how this driver and how this team as a whole does in 2026, because I feel like last year you had kind of this new look upstart in Spire Motorsports. You know, Corey LaJoie left, and he brought in Michael McDowell, who's a veteran presence, obviously. You have this young hotshot in Carson Hocevar. Now you bring in Daniel Suarez. That's 3 really established drivers in the Cup Series: Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar, to where there's a lot of potential with this team. We saw it last year, even when they didn't get the wins. They had the speed, they got poles, and they had, quite frankly, a few races that got away from them. So I think adding Daniel Suarez, that veteran, is going to be a very good thing for this team going forward. And it's going to make it very interesting for me to see how they tackle the 2026 season.
I want to mention, too, we are filming this live. So if you have a question, comment on the YouTube. Like, we want to hear, like, especially if it's related to qualifying tonight. You know, we got qualifying taking off in about 2 hours for the Daytona 500. I know Cole and I have been communicating about that all throughout the day, and you guys were just talking about it on Horsepower Hump Day too. As we keep things moving, though, Cole, the most recent race that happened obviously was the clash at Bowman Gray. Our boy Ryan Preece, and I call him our boy because you and I have a lot of inside jokes on this podcast. You and I are huge fans of the TV show Entourage.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks just like Josh Weinstein, right?
Josh Weinstein, baby. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Entourage, obviously. I was prepping for the money stop last night, put up a little snippet on the Instagram page and my personal, watching some Entourage while making the outline. So, you know.
What are our thoughts on Ryan Preece? Because that, to me, it was such an odd race to, I guess, get like any sort of feel from, just because of the amount of cautions and the weather and the amount of external factors. But man, in a really tough race, I feel like he showed out, and obviously you could see the emotion, but to go out there and muscle away a win from some of the best drivers in the sport was very, very impressive to me, on top of what we saw him do last year. I'm expecting some pretty big things out of our boy Ryan Preece.
Yeah, it's not a stretch to say that last year Ryan Preece should have been a playoff driver. He had about as consistent of a season as any driver in the field had, and the breakout was evident. I mean, he had top 15s pretty much every weekend, it felt like. And I think while there wasn't a lot you could take away from that clash at Bowman Gray because of the weather and all the unknown variables, I think you kind of can take away Ryan Preece's prowess on these short tracks as something to take stock in going forward, because he has that short track ace pedigree to him. We saw it last year. We've seen it through his entire NASCAR career in whatever he's driven. So I think with this new increased horsepower package on these short tracks, you really got to see him shine. And it wasn't like he came out of nowhere and won this thing. Like, I was texting Cody and Richie an hour and a half before the race ended that watch out for Ryan Preece. And what do you know? He went out and won the race. And by the way, there were quite a few bettors out there who cashed out on Ryan Preece. He was like plus 3,500 at one point, I think at the midway point, to win this thing, which is just stupid numbers, a stupid value for a driver that gets his money and his earnings on these short tracks. So I think he is going to be due for an excellent 2026 season, a continuation from what we saw last year. And I would not be surprised in the slightest if we saw him go to victory lane in a points-paying race.
Well, Big Glenn wants to know on YouTube, should he get a top 5 in qualifying tonight? I'm going to say no. I'm not going to go that far. Not for Daytona 500 qualifying.
I mean, you never know. I got to look where he's qualifying. I think it was pretty late, so there is a good chance he could qualify up front. Fords are always extremely fast at the SuperSpeedways. RFK racing as a whole is always very quick on these tracks, so you never say never. Obviously, top 5 would be determined by the duels. So, I mean, I know the optics don't look good for Ryan Preece on these tracks with the multiple flips he's had, but look at him last year and even in years past. He runs very well. He runs up front for the most part, but just a matter of keeping the car clean. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, general betting advice specifically for qualifying tonight. Like you said, I think any racing fan knows, but there's probably some casual fans out there that may not know. The later you go, the less sunlight there might be during qualifying, the more grip the track has. And that's why when you're referencing Ryan Preece going out to qualify late, or someone like Brad Keselowski qualifying third to last in the qualifying order, he has a higher probability of setting a good lap. And you seem to like the value in spite of this injury that Brad was just cleared to race in the 500 after his skiing accident kept him rehabbing for most of this offseason. He is going to be running out there third from last. And because of, again, the amount of grip with a track that does not have as much sunlight as, say, somebody that's qualifying at 8:25 Eastern time, you seem to think that he could be a really good bet for the pole tonight.
It's an extremely good bet for the pole tonight. As you mentioned, going out third to last for this single car qualifying session. Brad Keselowski, there's not much else to say on his name when it comes to these tracks and the super speedways. 7-time winner. He's won at Daytona once before. So many poles to his name as well. And again, mentioning the prowess of the Fords, specifically Team Penske and Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing at Daytona. Going out that late, I think, is a huge premium to have for that team. And despite having broken his leg in a skiing trip accident, like, we've seen this not be an issue for drivers like Kyle Busch, who broke his leg and came back and won a race. Even Brad Keselowski back in 2011 or 2012, he broke his leg at a test, came back a week later and won at Pocono. So it's obviously very different being at the age that Brad Keselowski is now, but at a track like Daytona, where there's not a whole lot of shifting going on and braking and all these different things that are going to mess around with his mobility, it's just a track where you kind of lay it all on the line and go full throttle. This, I think, is going to work out very well for Brad. His value to get the pole tonight is plus 2,200, which is just absolutely insane. You have other guys like Bubba Wallace, who's going out second to last. I think he's like plus 4,500. Austin Cindric's going out fifth to last. He's got a bunch of poles to his name on these tracks, bunch of wins to his name at these tracks. So there's some really good values tonight, but I like Brad Keselowski quite a bit as my pick to win the pole.
And I want to mention, too, because Tim pointed this out in the comments, the fact that, yes, it's going to be dark for all of qualifying, but the track is going to get more rubbered up with every car that gets out there. The temperature is still going to drop every single time, too. So, yes, it's going to be dark the whole time, but still, the later you go, the more of an advantage it's still going to be at this point for the 500. I want to shift gears now, Cole, because this is not just about Daytona 500 qualifying. There is a lot of money to be made when it comes to penny stocks. And we go with a lot of money-themed segment ideas because this is the Money Stop. These are just our favorite futures bets. And I think the best way to introduce this right now is the fact that, there's kind of different rules packages and points packages that are tweaked and adjusted every year by NASCAR. But obviously, when it comes to futures bets and championship bets and point standings, the most significant change we've seen in years has happened as we're going back to the 10-race chase playoff format as opposed to the championship 4 format that had the 16 drivers and 4 eliminated per 3 races in the 10 race playoff. So with that said, there's a lot to unpack. There's going to be drivers that this hurts, and there's going to be drivers that this helps. Obviously, we saw during the prime of the chase format, Jimmy Johnson dominated, right? He was very consistent for those 10 races. He and Chad Knaus and Hendrick Motorsports had a really good pulse on how to dominate that point system. And it eliminates the idea of somebody coming out of nowhere, perhaps relatively nowhere, and winning the championship. Now, this going back to some of the past couple of years, like when Joey Logano, some might say, stole the 2024 championship. Some might have said that that wasn't the most deserving champion. I remember we had that exact debate on this podcast and all throughout the motorsports world. That eliminates that possibility. So right off the bat, you're thinking that this is going to help the more consistent teams and drivers in terms of what the futures bets look like. So as we look at the odds for the preseason of who could win the championship, who does this help and who does this hurt?
First off, I'm going to run through the odds here. Top 5 championship odds. You've got, for the best values, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin as co-favorites at plus 500. Denny Hamlin's best value is on Caesars. Kyle Larson's is on FanDuel. And this is a cool little caveat here. So Denny Hamlin's actually the favorite on BetMGM at plus 375. So if you like Denny Hamlin, you want to go with him on Caesars if you want to get the best value. But from there, you've got William Byron as the third favorite at plus 650 on FanDuel. Christopher Bell plus 800 on FanDuel. And then Ryan Blaney plus 700 on FanDuel. Of these drivers, I'm going to go into who this chase format helps. It kicks off with Christopher Bell. Consistency is rewarded heavily with this 10-race format and season-long format. And I think you look at the last few seasons under this Gen 7 car, it's hard to find a better driver in terms of consistency than Christopher Bell. But the only driver that might be above him is Chase Elliott. So I think that my 2 drivers that are going to benefit tremendously from this chase being reintroduced are Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell. Both topped the series in average finish the last couple seasons. I also think on a going away from the big name kind of assumed playoff drivers, it helps Chris Buescher a lot as well, who in the same vein as Ryan Preece had one of the most consistent seasons by far of any driver in the field. Should have been a playoff driver. I think that helps him a lot, and he should be one of those 16 that makes it in on points or with a win. Who this hurts, I would say the win in year in merchants. So the guys who you typically see win on the super speedways, whether it be your Austin Cindric's, Stenhouse's, Austin Dillon's, even Josh Berry last year. That's why I was a big fan of this format returning, is because you're not going to have those drivers who are an assumed immediate first round exit in the round of 16. So it's going to impact those drivers, which are kind of staying the obvious. But one bigger name I think it kind of impacts would be Ross Chastain, who burst onto the scene in 2022 with Trackhouse Racing, had a really, really competitive season. After that, he's been good enough. He's been competitive, but he has been relatively inconsistent. Case in point was last year, 12 top 10s, worst average finish in his last 3 years, and only 1 win in each of his last 2 seasons. So for a bigger name driver, I think it hurts Ross Chastain, but this format definitely helps drivers like Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, and Chris Buescher.
And I like everything you had to say about the consistency aspect. I think the other part to factor in is the fact, by the way, Homestead Miami Speedway will host the championship, but last several years when it was at Phoenix, that format heavily prioritized drivers who were good at Phoenix, like the Penske Fords. So that's why you saw, part of the reason why you saw those Penske Fords win championships in the past couple of years. I think now that you're not putting all of the chips in one track, whether that is Phoenix or Homestead, it does reward the versatility, like you said, of those drivers that can go out there and put the most complete 10 races together. And you're not SOL if you don't happen to run well, usually at Phoenix, like certain drivers have had happen. Outside of that, Cole, our favorite futures bets going into this upcoming season, again, going off of a lot of what you just said, I still like the usual suspects. I like Christopher Bell. I like William Byron. I like Kyle Larson. Like the drivers that I would have picked to win a championship before this format changed, to me, are unaffected by this format change and going to the chase. largely. So I think when it comes to best values, I'm not looking at a certain driver that's fringe top 10 might be a good value for the championship. I'm still looking at those favorites because at the end of the day, if you bet Kyle Larson at plus 450 to win the championship and you cash that in, plus 450 is still a really good value. So for me, I'm still looking at the usual suspects when it comes to futures bets.
I am too. I think even with the consistency being a huge premium with this format, it still favors Kyle Larson quite a bit. And I say that because wins are still very heavily weighted. And we've seen this driver, one of the best in the world, rip off 4 to 6 wins in the last few years. So I think it favors Kyle Larson quite a bit. And also want to take this into account. Obviously, we mentioned the inconsistencies. It's kind of like a win or bust kind of driver the last few years with this prior format to the playoffs, with the win and you're in. Kind of have that luxury of testing around a bit, being more bold on strategies. I'm very curious to see how Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniel work with this chase format because there's no more testing. There's no more going bold. It's you got to maximize your points, maximize your wins, and that's it. So I think we've already seen it, but I think we're going to see more of a Jimmy and Chad dynamic with Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels, who I think is the best crew chief in the garage area. So I'm not too concerned about him. To that same point, I am a little bit skeptical on Denny Hamlin, again, for the right shoulder issues mentioned. Him and Chris Gale worked very well together last year as crew chief and driver, so I don't think there's any really major concern there, but I think in terms of looking at those top 2 Titans in Hamlin and Larson, I'd prefer Larson over Hamlin as the reigning champion, the younger driver, and obviously Cliff Daniels being that huge premium. But I think the best values I'm looking at for futures bets for champions, Chase Elliott, once again, he's plus 1,000 to win the championship. You can get that value on BetMGM and Caesar Sportsbook. Again, mentioned Christopher Bell. His value at plus 800 on FanDuel is a really good one. And Kyle Larson, as mentioned at the top, plus 500 as the co-favorite on FanDuel. So those would be my top 3 drivers, I would say. All really good values to buy in at right now. And for penny stocks, this is one where you place the bet now before the season starts, whether it be $20, $10, whatever your unit may be, and you just stash it away and let it ride until November.
I want to keep this pretty relevant to Cole, because if you're listening to this live, Daytona 500 qualifying is in about 90 minutes. Per DraftKings, we've got a new favorite. Austin Cindric just surged to plus 450, moving ahead of Chase Briscoe, which is interesting. And I'm just going to keep monitoring this. I don't have to respond to that, but I want to give you, Cole, some rapid fire over-under season props, because yes, you can place penny stocks, of course, on the champion, but you can also place over-under props. So with what's being presented here on DraftKings, I'm just going to give you an over-under on a certain driver. Alex Bowman, over or under a half a win. Does he win at least a race this year?
Oof. I'm probably going to go under on that one, honestly.
I'm going to go over. Over. I feel like he can step into one every once in a while. Rapid firing these off. Austin Cindric, over or under a half a win?
Under on that one. Yep, I know we got a bunch of speedways and drafting tracks, but I'm just not feeling it this year.
I could see it. I'm so far we're disagreeing on both. I think
that's
a Daytona win.
That's one driver that I feel like this chase format negatively impacts is Austin Cindric, by the way.
How about Austin Dillon, over or under a half a win?
That's an under for me as well.
Under is minus 200. Brad Keselowski, over under a half a win.
This is an interesting one. I had this written down on my outline here. Brad Keselowski, once again, recovering from this leg injury in the winning stages of his career. It's tough for me to say he doesn't get a win because I still fully believe he's a very competitive driver.
Came so
on
close
full display. The equipment last year was up to snuff with Preece and Buescher and even Brad. I think he gets a win this year. I really do. And I wanted to bring this up. There's different values on different sports books. You can get him to score over 0.5 wins, so a win at even payout on DraftKings. The best value, if you don't think he's going to score a win for the under, is minus 20 on BetMGM. But I think Brad K is going to win a race this year. And I think it very well could come in the 500.
You heard it here first, perhaps. How about an interesting one here? Chase Elliott, his over-under is set at 1.5. So will he win one race or will he win multiple races?
Yeah. So I actually had Chase highlighted too. There were 5 I had highlighted here from the entire over-under wins season-long predictions. I went over on that. Chase Elliott, we've seen him really come to his own and be the driver that he once was the last couple seasons. He had that injury with his own skiing accident or snowboarding accident, and he kind of had that hangover period. He had to readjust, reacclimate to competition, and he's just clicking off wins more consistently now, rattling off average finishes that top the charts every single year. I think he gets more than 2 wins this year. I really do. His over is minus 120 on DraftKings. That's the best value you can find for that.
Here's an interesting one, too. Joey Logano, over under 2.5 wins. He's favored to go under that total. He is plus 135 for 3 or more wins.
Joey is very hard for me to read this year. I contemplated putting him on who this format negatively impacts just because we've seen that driver and team be so inconsistent the last couple of years. But it's also Joey Logano. He's a multi-time champion, and I really do think that he adapts to whatever the style of competition is, whatever the point format is. So
who's laughing now?
I think 2.5 is a really good over-under, though. I'd probably go under. I think he's going to get 2 to 3 wins. So they nailed it. Vegas did on that part.
Ryan Blaney, over under 3.5 wins.
I'll probably on that one. So down all the over-under props here. They Hamlin, Barry at 3.5 at under, which I think is poorly rated because I'm finding it difficult to really go through any of these drivers and pick yes or no. And they had Kyle Larson at 4.5 for his over-under. So he's another one where it's kind of hard to read. They're properly rated. I'm probably going to push on all of those that I just named, those 5 drivers, because there's just so little margin for error in picking those race win totals.
That's fair. And then sometimes those are still
I stay away
during the season. They're still open. So you could kind of keep an eye on how kind of these teams come out of the gates and who looks good, who doesn't look good. So that'll be something to monitor on future episodes. How about, as I transition here, Cole, favorite breakout candidates in 2026? There are 2 drivers that come to mind. The obvious one is Connor Zilisch. Over under half a win. He's actually favored to win a race this year, minus 125 versus minus 105. Very similar odds. I don't know that I would be placing money on either of those. That's a possible breakout contender. But one I really like, Ty Gibbs is plus 110 to win a race this year, as opposed to minus 150 to not win a race this year. If I was going breakout candidates that are not Connor Zilisch, because that's the super easy name, I kind of like Ty Gibbs. I like some of what we saw out of that team in the second half of last season.
I love it. No, that team made a late surge. He was my pick for a breakout candidate in 2026, and he was one of my favorite penny stock bets for the 2026 season. So I am buying in on Ty Gibbs to win a race. So over 0.5 race wins, plus 110 on DraftKings. I am buying into that one all day if I'm listening right now. Again, we saw what this kid could do in the then Xfinity Series, now O'Reilly Series. We've seen him kind of come to his own the last year. And if he can just, keep it level-headed and just maximize his days, I think this team could be in store for a really big year. And I think the breakout is coming. I'm not going to put a number on it over 1 win, but I think he's going to get at least 1 this year. So Ty Gibbs, breakout.
By the way, speaking of the O'Reilly Series that you briefly mentioned, we could do some futures bets there too, because if you placed a future on Connor Zilisch to win the formerly Xfinity Series last year, you were probably sitting pretty all year. And then you were really disappointed after that race, just like Connor Zilisch was. I'm going to breeze by a couple odds and let me know if any of these are worthwhile.
Here, wait,
favorite win.
Real quick, Steven. I just want to give a condensed selection of my favorite over-unders for listeners out there.
Yeah.
So to recap, I did mention Chase Elliott and Ty Gibbs to go over on their props for race wins. Chase Elliott was 1.5, so 2 race wins or more, and Ty Gibbs was 1 race win or more. The other 3 that I was a big fan of, I like Chase Briscoe's prop of 2.5. So over 2.5 is minus 135. And I liked Ross Chastain, actually, over under 1.5. His over is plus 130. So I know I mentioned this format could negatively impact Ross Chastain, who's been a benefactor of the win you're in format the last few seasons. But I really do believe that this is a team and a driver that when they need to win, they're going to win. So I want to see this team go out there and get a few. I like that one a lot. But my favorite one, I think, in terms of value, it's got to be Carson Hocevar. Over 0.5 wins is plus 130 on DraftKings as well. So I'm looking at specifically Hocevar and Gibbs to score their first wins, both above even payout. Ty Gibbs plus 110, Carson Hocevar plus 130. And then I like the Chase Elliott over 1.5 at minus 120.
I will be sprinkling on those penny stocks as soon as we end this podcast tonight, because I don't want those lines to move based on even, let's say they have a good qualifying run. I don't want those lines to move, so I'm going to take it. I love both those drivers to get their first win this year. We do a segment that we like to call loose change, which is that change in your pocket. You kind of forget it's there, and you got to make use of it. Put it in the piggy bank, right? What did we forget to talk about? I was about to discuss it before. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series champion 2026 and the Craftsman Truck Series Championship 2026. Are there any names on this list that stick out to you as drivers we should be paying attention to, where Justin Allgaier is the favorite to win the O'Reilly Series and Lane Riggs is the favorite to win the Truck Series at plus 285? So a pretty decently heavy favorite there.
Yeah, I love Lane Riggs, by the way. He's an excellent driver. That's a very strong favorite, honestly, for the Truck Series, which I feel is very wide open. Behind him, you've got Chandler Smith plus 500, Christian Neckes plus 550, who's also tied with Ty Majeski. I'd kind of feel more inclined to go with one of the other three drivers, but I don't know. I'm kind of staying away from that series, if I'm being honest with you, the Truck Series. For the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, this is an interesting one to me. I feel like the top three favorites, Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, Austin Hill, are warranted. Austin Hill's the biggest question mark because the speed's there, but we've seen his temper get the best of him the last few years. I think Jesse Love has the best shot to repeat, only because he's staying with Danny Stockman. They had an excellent season. They actually had as many top 10s as Connor Zilisch did last year, but he was obviously overshadowed by that 88 team. So I like Jesse Love's plus 450 value a lot. And that's not to say I don't love Allgaier as well, because Allgaier, despite his age, he backed up his championship season with an incredible campaign. My only issue with him this year is the fact that he's losing longtime crew chief Jim Pullman to Kyle Busch in the Cup Series and inheriting Andrew Overstreet. So there's some question marks there. So I think that Jesse Love at plus 450 would be my favorite to repeat in the O'Reilly Series. One thing I did want to mention, though, as a kind of a shock, and I don't even know if Richie or Cody know this, but the fourth favorite to win the O'Reilly Auto Parts Championship is Brent Cruz. 17-year-old Brent Cruz at plus 500, who will miss 4 races because of his eligibility and age. What do we think of that, Steven? The fact that there's a 17-year-old in Brent Cruz who is the fourth favorite, despite the fact that he will miss 4 races for Joe Gibbs Racing.
It's incredible. It speaks to the talent. And the last time we were talking about a driver like this was Connor Zilisch, right? So I think that there's definitely something to be said about that. And, it's a long season. I think that there's plenty of opportunity to get into the chase. And once you get there, it's anybody's match. And Connor Zilisch proved you can be a young guy and dominate the series. And it's been proven many times before Connor Zilisch, but that's the most recent example. It's intriguing, especially at that value. Would you say plus 700? Very intriguing.
Mm-hmm. So we have one more thing to get to before we're going to do the putting our money where our mouth is, right? And then that was going to be it.
Yep.
I had one more thing I wanted to add, actually. So to pile on to the championship values and props and futures bets and penny stocks that we talked about, there are a few interesting props you can only get on Caesars Sportsbook, and I like them quite a bit. You could do a top 3 in the championship standings. You can get Kyle Larson at plus 130, Denny Hamlin plus 175, William Byron plus 200, along with Ryan Blaney, and then Chase Elliott at plus 300. If you like any of those drivers to win the championship, like I like Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott or Ryan Blaney or William Byron, that's an incredible prop that you can kind of get in on early. And it's a what I would call a big money bet. So you put your larger units on that. Again, assuming Kyle Larson does not win the championship, I find it hard pressed that he's not going to get at least third in the standings. So you can more than double your money at plus 130 on Caesars Sportsbook with that. Another really good prop that you can wager on is the winning team of the championship. So obviously the favorites are going to be Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team Penske. HMS, you can more than double your money on all these teams, but HMS is plus 110, JGR is plus 150, and Penske is plus 450. All three teams are NASCAR's premier powerhouses. All three teams have drivers who have won recently at Homestead and have drivers who I would say are consider it one of their best tracks. So any of those three drivers or any of those three teams, HMS, JGR, Penske, those are really, really good penny stock values to invest in.
And I feel even more confident throwing some money on those with it being the chase format, because let's just say it's the championship 4 and Kyle Larson gets a flat tire or whatever, what happened to Christopher Bell the last couple of years. He would finish 4th in the standing. So I like that a lot, especially for this year. And if there's a driver that I'm betting on to win the championship, I'm almost going to do that as some insurance. And I don't want to dangle that carrot anymore, because it is time to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to do this on every Money Stop episode. For those of you just tuning in to the Money Stop, this is our, preseason, episode 0, if you will. We're going to have a full Daytona 500 episode coming up on Friday here on SpeedFreaks. But right now, we're talking preseason, storylines. We want to give you our input going into the season. Put our money where our mouth is. This is where actions speak louder than words, right, Cole? You've heard the numbers. Mm-hmm. Here's what we're actually betting on this week. And new this year, this is year 6 of the Money Stop, something new we're doing. We want to pass our condolences, of course, to the Greg Biffle family. What we're doing here is we're going to tell you exactly what we're betting on at the end of every episode. And we're actually going to put all the winnings to benefit the Biffle Family Legacy Impact Fund, started by the Biffle family to ensure that the Biff's giving spirit continues on by supporting meaningful work and impact across a wide range of charitable causes. So I can't think of a better cause for our NASCAR betting analysis to go to other than this. As I say that now, Cole, we're each going to put our money where our mouth is and make one champion pick. One champion pick. I think, like I said, I'm going to also sprinkle some on that insurance bet of a top 3 in the final standings. But as you are the older brother, why don't you go first?
All right. For my pick here, I am going to put... Dang, there's some really good values out here, man. For my one bet, I'm going to pick Kyle Larson to place top 3 in the championship at plus 130. We're going to put $20 on that. Hopefully it rides out, and we can put some money towards the Biffle Family Legacy Fund here. Real quick, I did want to say the reason why we're doing this, first of all, it's for an incredible cause. I've always been very fond of Biffle and his philanthropic efforts in aiding in the welfare of animals and disaster relief. So this is a great way to pay tribute to him. And I think it's also important to hold ourselves accountable. I don't like giving out betting advice and not putting our money where our mouth is. But at the same token, obviously I'm NASCAR media. I don't feel very comfortable betting on NASCAR and keeping the winnings. So should we get these winnings and we make these bets, I think it'd be a great cause to donate all those winnings towards this Biffle Family Legacy Impact Fund.
Incredible idea. I'm really pumped because, like I said last year, very successful season 2025 when it came to the results of what we spoke about on this very podcast. And if that trend continues, then there's going to be a lot of charitable efforts for the Biff Family Foundation. So before I get to my pick here, Cole, I want to say, we're about to sign off on for the live audience on YouTube. If you have any questions related to the Daytona 500 related to season-long bets, 500 qualifying, which starts in about an hour, hit those in the comments right now because we're going to answer as many questions as we can before we sign off. For me, I'm going to take Ryan Blaney for the championship. I like where that team is at. I like where he is kind of coming into his own, the prime of his career. Plus 450 out of Team Penske to win the championship gives you some nice insurance options of, if he doesn't win, then maybe you get Joey Logano in there because obviously he's proven he can certainly do that in an even numbered year. But I like Ryan Blaney this year to win the championship. That is my champion pick for 2026.
Very nice. I feel great about Ryan Blaney as well, but I've had this pretty much predetermined in my head for a while now. I just really feel like this year is going to be so good for Chase Elliott. We've seen this team and this driver really come on as of late. Again, mentioned him coming back from the injury a few years ago, rounding back into form. I just really feel like that this Chase format caters to Chase Elliott. He's a driver that has won and run very well at Homestead. So why not Chase Elliott? He's a former champion. And I really do think that this is going to be a great year for that number 9 team. So he's my championship pick at plus 1,000 per the sports books.
It's almost time, Cole. It's almost time for Daytona 500 qualifying. And then my favorite week in motorsports. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion with what goes on Indy 500 weekend, but man, I am pumped up about this. And we're going to talk all about the Daytona 500. We couldn't fit all of that into one episode. You're all caught up with kind of the splash and go, all the main storylines entering the 2026 season. But on Friday, if you want to know where to put your money for the Daytona 500, keep it tuned right here to your most important NASCAR betting stop of the day, the Money Stop. Cole, before we sign off, final thoughts heading into qualifying.
Yep. I'm excited. I've always loved this whole speed week. It reminds me of when I first got into NASCAR, how we would often break away from our school classes or whatever and watch on our phones and just always be so invested. So I'm very pumped up for this qualifying tonight. It just feels like a different event. Like, qualifying in the regular seasons is what it is, but I've always was very invested in qualifying for the 500. It's a true testament to the guys at the shop and tuning these engines and making them go around. So my money is going to be on Brad Keselowski to win the pole tonight. That's the third to last qualifier. So we'll see him rebound from that fracture in his fibula and hopefully win this thing tonight.
I'm going to take Alex Bowman, plus 1,100 for qualifying. He's done it on the front row so many times for Hendrick Motorsports. That's going to be where my money is tonight. In about an hour, qualifying will be underway. But with that, Cole, the Money Stop is going to come to an end. Let me do one last sweep for some questions here. And I think we're okay. We're okay for right now. So we're going to drop the jack on the most important NASCAR betting stop of the day. It's how any good Money Stop ends, right? You drop the jack.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But we're not done. Again, Friday, Daytona 500 betting analysis. You're going to see it right here on SpeedFreaks with the most important NASCAR betting stop of the day. Tune in to us also on social media. We mentioned the fact at the beginning of this podcast, Cole, we like to drop these episodes early so that fans have a chance to take advantage of the odds before they move. But with that said, practice happens, qualifying happens. A lot of times that's after we put these episodes out. If you're not following us on social media at @the_money stop, you don't know. I mean, you could judge for yourself, but you don't know where our heads are at in terms of how do those practice times and the best lap averages and the qualifying positions, how does that impact what we said in the episode or outside circumstances, whether it be not related to racing, that may have impacted things. So go on social media, hit that follow button, subscribe to SpeedFreaks on YouTube. And of course, I mean, I'm Steven_Cusomano on Twitter, X. You can follow me, but my content, largely not racing related because, again, Mr. Baseball over here. Follow Cole at Cole_Cusomano_. He's got all your updates, even beyond betting when it comes to NASCAR.
That's right. Going to be a great year. Had an awesome year 5 with the Money Stop, and it's going to be even better 2026. We're taking over. SpeedFreaks and the Money Stop, baby. Let's go.
Big Glenn in the chat says that Cole looks like he's about to fire up the grill. I think that's a perfect ending point because we got one more episode to film here. We're not firing up the grill yet, but I like to think of that as an omen. We're going to fire up the grill, and everybody's eating this weekend. Everybody's eating in season 6 of the Money Stop, right? They did it in season 5, season 4. We're like LeBron, 3, 2, every year. We're eating. We're going to fire up the grill. 2026, the Money Stop. And I hear Richie saying something to you. What did Richie just say?
Yes. So in addition to catching the Money Stop every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, you can now catch SpeedFreaks on our new home of FS2 every Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And you can also catch us on Sirius XM Fox Sports Radio, Channel 83. So, and of course, YouTube. But we also have our show being distributed to Spotify and Apple Podcasts now, wherever you can wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that's where you can find SpeedFreaks and the Money Stop.
This has been great, Cole. I think we did a great job laying the foundation for the season. I'm pumped up for you guys at SpeedFreaks. I can't wait to slap on the TV 10 o'clock every Sunday and find you guys on FS2. So thank you so much for everyone that tuned in to this live edition of episode 0, season 6 of the Money Stop. For Cole, as well as our boy, Cody Big Johnson, producing this episode and every episode of the Money Stop. I'm Steven Cusomano for the Money Stop Mafia. Do it with us here, all right? We're going to make some bags this year. Let's go. This has been the most important NASCAR betting stop of the day, the Money Stop.